Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to a next drawing here in Onshape for our part design using Part Studio certification. We're going to draw this coffee cup, and what is particularly interesting, or might be the first time we've done this in this class, is adding a work plane here on an angle rather than our initial top, front, and right work planes. So to do that, once you're inside your folder, the correct folder, we'll go and we will create a new document, and we're going to title this, let's see, coffee cup with our last name. And we'll begin with a basic two-dimensional sketch that will then revolve about an axis. So I'm going to Shift S, and I'm going to select the front plane, right-click, view normal to sketch plane, so it gives me a two-dimensional window or a transparent piece of paper to draw from. And now I can begin my two-dimensional shape that I want to revolve about this vertical axis. So the first thing will be L, or line, on the keyboard. And I'm going to just arbitrarily start my line here. Let's go ahead and bring it over. And let's escape the line command. I can do a line command again. I can bring my line out just a little bit because I know that I'm going to dimension this a little bit later. And so after I have my lines, I'll then want to use A for my three-point arc. And I will need a starting point, an ending point, and then a radius. And if you can make it tangent, that would be great. And if not, we can go back and add our tangent command, but I'm going to turn on my constraints here, and the one thing I want to make sure is that this arc is tangent to this line, and from there I can add my dimensions. So I have my geometric constraints. I'll turn them off. Sometimes it gets a little awkward to see it, and I'm going to go ahead and add my dimensional constraints. The one thing that you're going to notice, well, let's do it. Let's put D for dimension. I can dimension this vertical line. And again, I always do this just so that you can see how to change it. We're in US Imperial and we want it to be in metric. So let's escape out of that command, delete this, and we'll go up to the document menu. We will select workspace units. And then here is where we will change our default setting to millimeter and our mass to, let's change it to gram. And now that I'm in here, this will close out the sketch, confirm it, so I'm going to go ahead and need to select edit again to make it active. And now I can add my dimensional constraints. The one thing we are going to need though, so we probably should put it in now, is a construction line. So I'll select line from the quick access toolbar and construction. You can do this multiple ways. Let's drag it up here a little bit bigger. You can also just draw this as an object line and use Q on the keyboard, whatever you get comfortable with. Now I can add my dimensional constraints. So I'm going to want the height of my cup to be 100. Now it's much larger. You can zoom out like we used the scroll wheel in class. You can also right click and select zoom to fit, and that will reposition it in your graphics window too. So a couple different ways. You can also come over here and use the rendering options over here on the side. So we're still in the dimension constraint. I probably want to adjust this distance, the distance from that point up to the beginning of the arc first. And then I can go ahead and dimension my radius of my arc is 90. I want the diameter distance. I'm going to select the endpoint, the construction line, and I'm going to drag it over above the construction line in order to get my diameter dimension, and I'll want to do it for the bottom also. So I'll select the line and make sure when you drag it, notice when I do the object line, it doesn't allow me to go all the way over. So I want to come up and select the construction line, which is used for referencing, and then I can drag it to the left of my object line, which will allow me to add my diameter dimension, which is 75 millimeters. Okay, so that's the first part of our drawing. We have the beginning two-dimensional shape along with our geometric and dimensional constraints, And in the next video, we'll go ahead and add our offsets before we revolve it. Thanks, and I'll see you in a minute.